Hi, welcome to Bonsai Druid. This is Suzy. I just wanted to kind of give you a little peek at what my trees look like when they're outside and not brought into my studio where it's rather dark most of the time. So I have a couple of little succulents that I have scattered around. They grow so easy. I have this right here, river birch. I got two of them for Arbor Day, and luckily the one I thought was dead I didn't pull out because it did start leafing out from close to the bottom, so they look pretty nice. Nice start. I didn't think they'd live, to be honest with you. They came in these little clear baggies, and they had a little bit of water in the bottom of the bag, but that's not where the roots were, so I'm lucky they're alive at all. Then I have this dead stick and this live one. These were both Kojo no Mai cherry. I planted them in baskets, as you can see, and in a pretty loose draining soil. I wired this one cherry that's alive. The other one's dead, but because that birch came back, I thought I'm going to give this cherry the opportunity to live, if it will. But this Kojo no Mai right here is off to a nice start. The leaves are staying really bright green. Haven't seen any problems with it. This next one is blueberry. You can see where I wired it here, here, and here. This is a sacrificial branch. I like the way it's developing. It's also in one of these tie pots, which I mainly just use because I have a bunch of them. I don't really tie many branches, but it also gives me the opportunity to have something good to grab onto for a rim so I don't drop the pot. And they're plastic, and they do have ventilation holes here and on the bottom, and same with these bigger ones, so air gets into the roots. It helps make a better root ball, which is what I need on most of my trees. And they're deeper, so they do better in this weather and where I live, to not dry out before I can get home from work and water them again. This is my pomegranate, looking very good. And I believe there's a baby pomegranate right here. So we're going to leave that in. Hopefully it's not a weed and it is part of a pomegranate, because there is some dead old flowers and probably fruits that have fallen down in there. Behind this one I have my jabuticaba right here. Again, it's in one of these training pots, which gives it some, it's deep. This is mainly just to keep them healthy through the year. I'm not entering shows, so I don't really need to put them into fancy pots. There's kind of where the trunk is doing with this one right now. Here's a little oak. I think it's an oak of some kind. It might be a chestnut, but it's alive. I'm pretty happy. This is my South African fig. Bert Davii, I think it's called. It is in a smaller pot. It's got a nice thick trunk because it's been around with me for quite a while. It just doesn't have great branches, but that's what we're trying to improve on this particular tree. And then behind that, I have orange jasmine. That is in a regular ceramic pot, but it's one of the deeper ones that I have. This tree grows kind of slow for me, but it hangs in there. Someday it'll be something. Right now, it's just that. Still developing. I don't know why I keep these in here. All I've done is catch 1,000 flies. Then I have my Dawn Redwood Forest. It is in a big ceramic pot, unglazed. I wired some of the branches to drop them down where I wanted them. That one was a little lower than I wanted. The wind must have done that to it. I used aluminum wire, so we'll see. Here I didn't use aluminum wire. That bit there. Trying to get something to live on this particular trunk. And then this right here is my green Isle banyan, which I kind of, this last time when I cut it back, it had overgrown its shape. It needs to be redone. So I have all these others. There's a nice one in here. There's at least 4 in that pot and another 3 or 4 in that pot. All off this one tree. You can basically see where I took the cuts. And then I have a couple of cuttings that I took of my Dawn Redwood. They're actually alive at the moment, so I'm happy. They're small, but someday they'll be big enough to put into the forest. Unless I find bigger ones. But there's 2 in there, so that's nice. Up here we have the 2 staghorn sumac that I bought. This is a cut leaf variety, so the leaves will probably look smaller than the normal American sumac looks when it's full size. They get some nice trunks. And they have hair on their, the branches are fuzzy. This here is the Stewardia in the center, in the blue pot. Holding its own. It'll probably end up being a shorter tree at some point. I think I'm going to air layer the upper part of it to get a second tree from this, but I have to look into that. I'm not sure that Stewardia air layers well. And then over here to the right of this, I have corkscrew hazel, Harry Lauder's walking stick. I just had to clean a bunch of scale off of it. But it's looking really healthy. And I'll be doing a video when I eventually start trimming the branches on that again. And this is a black currant in a pot with all the green leaves. That is from a friend of mine, and I'm going to bonsai it, but right now I'm just kind of letting it do its thing and get some good energy into it. It's been in a greenhouse a long time. And finally, I have a pawpaw that survived being in my studio over the winter. It's got a big long root cutting that I took. It's in this pot, which is why it's in such a weird pot. That's all I had at the time, but it lived, so I'm not messing with it. And that's pretty much what goes on outside. I'm hoping to make a better display in the future, getting rid of these old aquarium stands with metal signs on them to support the trees. It does the job, but it's not pretty. But a friend of mine has some nice planks of live oak, or live edge hardwoods and softwoods, so I'm going to use them to make a new bench all along the side of the house here. And the bigger, heavier stuff will still probably go up here. This is an old concrete porch that we reclad with wooden stairs to make 2 stairs, but our back door isn't there anymore. Now it's just siding. We rearranged the layout of the house. So this just stays here as a place for me to put my trees. It gets morning sun until noon, which is right around now, and then it'll get shade for the rest of the day, which really does give it a break in the summer here, because it gets hot, and it's going to be 90 degrees Fahrenheit this coming Sunday. So today it just happens to be a nice cool day. It's 70 and beautiful. I could wish that it was not so sunny, but since the trees like it, I'm okay with it. But I'm squinting. I can't hardly see out here. So I hope this video comes out good, because I can't actually see the screen. See you next time on Bonsai Druid.